The story begins with Vin Diesel, the renowned actor and owner of a high-end restaurant named Torx in Los Angeles, California. Torx is not just a vanity project for Vin, it is a labor of love, a place where he has spent years perfecting the menu, hiring the right chefs, and creating an environment where both everyday people and Hollywood elites can enjoy a great meal. However, Vin understands that the true health of a business is not reflected in its profit margins, but in the well-being of its employees. To ensure that Torx is running smoothly, Vin periodically visits the restaurant incognito, dressed in a hoodie and jeans, to observe the operations without drawing attention to himself. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share where you're watching from in the comments section. Your support will help us bring more meaningful stories like this. On one such visit, Vin walks into Torx during the Friday dinner rush. The restaurant is bustling, with servers darting between tables, the air filled with the scent of garlic butter and grilled ribeye. At first glance, everything seems fine, but Vin, with his experience in the industry, knows that appearances can be deceiving. He notices the manager, Rick Calloway, a tall, rigid-looking man in a navy blue dress shirt, standing at the edge of the floor, watching the staff like a hawk. There is something off about Calloway's demeanor. His presence feels controlling rather than observant. As Vin moves toward the bar, he hears a soft, muffled sound coming from the side hallway near the kitchen. It's the sound of someone crying. Not loud or dramatic, but the kind of cry that comes from someone trying desperately not to break. Vin's footsteps slow as he turns his head toward the break room door, slightly ajar. Inside, he sees a young woman, head bowed, gripping the edge of a metal counter as if trying to keep herself from collapsing. Another employee, a young man in a Torx uniform, stands beside her, speaking in hushed, urgent tones. Vin doesn't know the woman, but the look on her face hits him like a gut punch. Something is very wrong, and he isn't leaving until he finds out what. Vin takes a seat at the bar, his face calm but his mind racing. The crying isn't just stress, it's fear. Vin has worked in restaurants before and knows what it's like to deal with rude customers, long shifts, and aching feet, but this is different. His first instinct is to walk over and ask if she's okay, but he knows that as a regular customer he can't intervene directly. Instead, he listens. The young man beside her, probably a fellow server, keeps his voice low, and Vin can only make out fragments of their conversation. "You can't let him. He doesn't own you." The woman's voice, barely audible, responds, "What choice do I have? He made it clear if I don't do what he says, I'm gone." Vin's grip tightens around the glass of water the bartender has set in front of him. At first, he thinks it might be about a customer harassing her, but the way she says it suggests that the problem is someone inside the restaurant. Before he can think further, the bartender approaches him, and Vin orders just water, keeping his focus on the situation unfolding around him. He glances toward Calloway, who is still standing near the floor, arms crossed, scanning the room with a presence that makes people nervous. Vin notices the young man from the break room stepping back onto the floor, looking rattled. Vin sees an opportunity and approaches him, asking for a pen to start a conversation. The young man, whose name tag reads Tyler, hands Vin a pen, and Vin uses the opportunity to ask about the woman in the break room. Tyler initially tries to brush it off, saying she's fine, but Vin presses gently, and Tyler eventually admits that she's not fine. Vin learns that the woman, Emily, has been working at Torx for over a year, and doesn't like it, but can't afford to leave. Tyler's hesitation and the way he glances toward Calloway tell Vin everything he needs to know. Emily is trapped, and Calloway is the source of the problem. As Vin continues to observe, he notices Calloway walking toward them, his presence intimidating. Calloway asks if there's a problem, and Tyler immediately drops his gaze, busying himself with the plates in front of him. Vin, still incognito, thanks Tyler and steps away, feeling Calloway's eyes on him the entire time. Vin's mind is made up. He isn't leaving until he figures out exactly what's happening in his restaurant. Vin steps outside for a moment to cool his frustration and think. He knows something isn't adding up. Emily is terrified, Tyler is hesitant, and Calloway has the look of someone who thrives on control. Vin has dealt with bad managers before, but this feels different and more calculated. He needs to talk to someone who isn't afraid, and as if the universe is working in his favor, Nate, the bartender, steps outside for a break. Vin approaches him casually and asks about Calloway. Nate's expression darkens and he reveals that Calloway is not just strict but predatory, making Emily stay late alone and talk to her in a way that makes everyone uncomfortable. Nate's words confirm Vin's suspicions. Calloway is a predator, and Emily is his target. If you are still watching this video and found this story helpful, please comment one below to let me know you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. With this information, Vin knows he can't wait. He walks back into the restaurant where the dinner rush is winding down and goes straight to Emily, who is mid-conversation with a customer. Vin interrupts, telling her he needs to speak with her. Emily is confused and tries to brush him off, but Vin insists, and she reluctantly steps away from the customer. Vin tells Emily that he knows what's happening and that she's not alone. Emily flinches, but Vin doesn't back down, telling her that Calloway is not untouchable. Before Emily can respond, Calloway arrives, his expression cool but his eyes sharp with irritation. He asks if there's a problem, and Vin, still incognito, turns to face him. Vin reveals his identity as the owner of Torx, pulling out his executive ownership credentials. The restaurant falls into stunned silence as Calloway's face drains of color. Vin tells Calloway that they need to talk and leads him to his office, leaving Emily and the rest of the staff in shock. In the office, Vin confronts Calloway, accusing him of abusing his power and intimidating his employees. Calloway tries to deny it, but Vin plays a recording of Emily's voice, captured earlier, where she admits that she feels trapped and afraid of losing her job if she doesn't do what Calloway says. Vin tells Calloway that he's done, and that he will never work in the industry again. He calls corporate HR to ensure that Calloway is fired immediately. After the confrontation, Vin walks back into the restaurant and tells Emily and the rest of the staff that Calloway is gone and that they're safe. Emily looks relieved but still uncertain, and Vin reassures her that things will change. He tells the team that the restaurant is under direct review and that they will be making changes to ensure that no one like Calloway can abuse their power again. Tyler speaks up, telling Vin that the problem isn't just Calloway, it's the entire system that allows managers to pressure and intimidate employees without consequence. Nate agrees, adding that many employees feel like they have no choice but to put up with bad treatment because they fear losing their jobs. Vin listens carefully and acknowledges that the problem is bigger than just one bad manager. He tells the team that he wants to fix the system and that he needs their help to do it. He promises transparency, trust, and a commitment to listening to their concerns. Emily, still hesitant, asks if anyone will listen if they speak up. Vin looks her in the eye and assures her that he will. For the first time that night, Emily looks like she believes it. An hour later, Vin sits in his car, watching as the employees lock up for the night. Emily walks out with Tyler and Nate, the three of them talking quietly. They look lighter, as if the weight of the last year has finally started to lift. Vin exhales, running a hand over his face. He knows that this is just one restaurant, one manager, one location, but he can't help but wonder how many more are out there. How many employees like Emily are afraid to speak up? How many times has he looked at a report and thought everything was fine when it wasn't? Vin realizes that being a leader isn't just about profit margins or efficiency, it's about people. Too often, people in power look the other way, seeing employees as numbers rather than human beings. But leadership isn't about control, it's about responsibility. Vin vows to make changes not just at Torx but across his entire business empire, to ensure that no employee feels trapped or afraid to speak up. He knows that sometimes all it takes is one person to break the cycle, and he is determined to be that person. The story ends with Vin reflecting on the importance of leadership and responsibility. He knows that the real problems in any business are often hidden beneath the surface, and it's up to leaders to dig deep and address them. Vin's experience at Torx serves as a reminder that true leadership is about creating a safe and supportive environment for employees, where they feel empowered to speak up and make a difference. As we wrap up this powerful story, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. Vin Diesel's actions remind us that leadership isn't just about success or profit, it's about responsibility, empathy, and standing up for what's right. He showed us the importance of listening to those who may feel voiceless and taking action to create a safe and supportive environment for everyone. So what's the biggest lesson you're taking away from this story? Is it the importance of speaking up when you see injustice? Or maybe it's the value of leading with compassion and integrity. Whatever it is, we'd love to hear from you. Comment below and share one thing you've learned that you'll bring into your own life or workplace. If this video resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring stories and lessons. Your support helps us create content that makes a difference. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes all it takes is one person to break the cycle and create change. Be that person.